Otto Koning put out a bunch of wonderful videos, and I'm thinking of just maybe sharing those because I've listened to each of them. I can't count how many times. I've gone over them and over them over and over and over. And I do it often when I'm having trouble. But he had to deal in the jungle, he was a missionary, with this child who was terribly demon possessed. And we're talking seizures, the whole thing. And it was just this kid. The devil would use this kid to cause him, so many problems, and he didn't handle it well all the time. He'll tell you that in his sermons. I failed in some of these ways, and dealing with this individual as a little, well, not a little kid. He was, I don't know. He was 12, 14, something like that. And it's hard to get water there in the jungle, so you have to wait for it to rain. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big issue. It's a big pain. So what happened was this kid who never bathed, anyway, because he was so, that's just the way they were in that jungle. I mean, there's a lot of demon oppression. I myself experienced it, this kind of depression, and it does that to you. I mean, you just, and if you're sick with I have fibromyalgia on top of it, so you know, I'm just telling you, this is a it's a big thing. But this kid, they didn't bathe at all in the jungle at all, and this kid would always he'd get fresh water. He would come and get his fresh water, and people who never bathed, but yet he would grab a bar of soap and start washing himself in their only clean water. Right? Think about how horrifically angry that would make you. And then you spend all day, say, washing your children's diapers. Back then they used cloth diapers. And washing these diapers by hand, hanging them out, getting them all cleaned, ready for your children. So here's this little dude in your clean water using soap when they don't ever use soap anyway, and I'm talking never use it. And the devil would send this young man continuously just to push every button that Otto Koning had. So after a series of time, after time, and they would here that he'd have to clean out the water jug, a big water barrel, take it, clean it out, sanitize it, pray for rain, and God would send more rain. You have to pray for the rain and get the miracle of God sending the rain, and turn around, and there the kid would be back in it with the soap. And then what he would do is every single time he would do that, it didn't happen just once or twice now, it happened all the time. And here this kid would go, and on every clean diaper, he would rub his dirty face after being in the barrel on each and every one of those diapers, absolutely soiling the diapers, leaving black marks all over the diapers that were hanging on the clothesline. And he took it and took it and took it, and then his patience ran out. I mean, this was really amazing. And I also deal with somebody who literally has seizures for no apparent reason. He's went to doctors. They don't know what's causing these seizures. He's had seizures though. He just devil just take him up and jerk him around. And I know that I'm not dealing with that person, and I intellectually know it, and I spiritually know it, but yet I still, like Otto Koning, I don't handle it always right. And I mean, I lose it sometimes. Bad. Sometimes. I actually cussed for the first time I said a horrible word. Probably the first time I said that word in maybe 5 years. I mean, God took that word out of my mouth. he did, but I just asked him to forgive me. So here this kid comes and gets an Otto Koning's water barrel again. So Otto Koning hauls off and smacks the fire out of this kid. And when I say fire, that may sound like a hillbilly slang, but it's not just a hillbilly slang this time. He literally saw fire come out of this young man, out of his eyes and out of him. That's how possessed this young man was. And so lo and behold, they were set to go, I think, on furlough. I can't be for sure in that. I have to re-listen to the story. And as many times as I heard it, I should have it memorized word for word. But I don't. But I think it was on furlough. And they were going to come back home to America. And I want you to know, as soon as they were gone, the only thing Satan used that young man for was to be a stumbling block continuously for Otto Koning. And as soon as he was gone, Satan killed that boy. Just threw him in he'd throw him in the fire. He'd do all kinds of things to him. But once he couldn't use him anymore to torment the missionary, he killed him. And I thought about that because I blew it tonight. See, I said a bad word tonight, and I haven't done that. And I realized it was a satanic setup, and God showed me that. And I realized that the devil is using this person in my life to set me up, not only to set me up with stress from my childhood, because there's a whole lot of correlation between the abuse of my childhood and the abuse between him. There's not the physical that went on in my childhood, bloody noses, hair being pulled, having my head busted against the floor, thrown over stuff, cussed out continuously. I was a child who was, I don't remember ever getting hugs. I didn't get I love yous. I didn't get any of those things. I was a child who grew up without those things. So God knows I'm still not healed over that. So then here I am in my older age, and I'm dealing with a person highly demonized, and I'm under demonic oppression so badly myself, having spiritual warfare that is unbelievable, just holding on. And the two things just merge together tonight. I mean, post-traumatic stress syndrome. Literally, me and my brother, we can't function. We're neither one functioning individuals. We couldn't function normally in the world because even though she loved my brother and didn't do those things, she's so messed up that she still ended up with two kids who are nothing but damaged goods. Neither one of us can truly function normally as people should. We're messed up, and we never learned how to overcome it. Not yet, So those two things merged together on me tonight, and I lost it. And God reminded me of Otto Koning. And that sometimes we do fail. I don't like failing because I was taught you better be perfect, but the more you try to be perfect and you try to do it in your own, you fail. And I hate being a failure. I hate that. But I know the Lord has forgiven me, and the Holy Spirit is showing me something I've forgotten about. Charlie Hagee. I remember when he put that video out. He said, "I've done some sins today." And he was just telling us to keep on repenting. But he said he'd lost his temper and he said a few cuss words. And I was thinking about that just now for whatever reason. And I could just feel like saying, just like Charlie did, and just like the Lord, I just asked God, I said, "Please forgive me. I shouldn't have done that. Will you forgive me?" And I felt like the river of peace of life, one that just flows from out of the side of Jesus, just flow through my belly. And I just felt like I heard him say satanic setup. That it was a satanic setup. And I knew before he went to help me, he was helping me. But he doesn't help me without there being a lot of emotional abuse, and he blames it all on me. If I ask for something like to take a shower or to get a bath, it's like it's a trigger thing. It's just like a demonic. And I think he said he's had 2 baths since September. So I'm dealing with something unbelievable. And I think that it just reminded me that it would probably be a good idea if I upload these sermons. Because honestly, out of all the preachers I've ever heard, I've never heard anybody be so real. They always cover up any of their own flaws. They always talk about how honorable they are and how wonderful they are, and they never act like they've had anything they've ever done wrong in their life. They are always, but not Otto Coney. He gets real with you. How many missionaries or how many people is going to go before all those people knowing he's a missionary and tell all these people that he slapped a young man so hard as he could, and that fire came out of their eyes? And you could just tell that people were shocked that he did something like that, but he was honest. But I want you to know something. God honored that man for being honest and getting real with, because he only trusted God. You know what? He made so many mistakes so many times. And you sit and look at his life, and the only thing, and the only conclusion, and the only person that gets glory in his life is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Because you can look at how he handled things time after time and how he blew it. And he would be honest about his failures, how he just absolutely blew situations. But he was real with God. And God took that man's life and did something amazing. One of the most powerful sermons I've ever heard in my life, because they have Jesus Christ written all over it. Because he was real. Now, I've seen some of these people on here, if somebody blows it, immediately they make a video putting the people's face up there, and but then I think of Otto Coney and how he had to deal with people like that. But yet God showed himself strong in Otto Coney's life. even though these other Christians really wanted to hammer him hard on some of his mistakes, right? But God chose Otto Koning. I find this man's life, not because he's just a man. It's not because I idolize some kind of man here, because I don't even look at Otto Koning in this really. Because I know who it is that's holding him up. See, it's not Otto Koning that gets any glory in his life. He's the only one I've ever really seen where Jesus Christ gets full glory. Without all the vanity, puff, and fluff, it's all about Jesus Christ. And if I get the chance, and God willing, and I could post these, I hope it'll bless you like it has me. So God bless you in Jesus' name.